Welcome to the Atlas Cast for Building Your Business, presented by best-selling author, speaker, and sales and business growth consultant, Archer Atlas. And here's your host, Archer Atlas.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Atlas Cast for Building Your Business. I'm your host, Archer Atlas. Now, before we get started, if you'd like to get the transcript for this show and every other one, as well as show notes and my best-selling book, Build Your Business Without Breaking the Bank, simply go to theatlascast.com and subscribe. You'll get it all for free as a thank you for listening. All right, welcome to episode 3, how to use the phone to generate more and better leads. This episode is all about something that's near and dear to me, something that I know more about than probably anything else, and probably something I know more about than just about anyone alive. Certainly more than anyone who teaches this. What am I talking about? Cold calling. That's right, everyone's favorite. Well, not exactly. Now, before you go running for the hills or stop listening to this podcast, just give me 60 seconds to explain to you why you should definitely listen to this, why you can definitely use this strategy in your business with great results, and why what I'm about to tell you is completely different from anything and everything you've ever heard about cold calling or using the telephone in your business. First, I hate this word cold calling. And the fact is, the system I use and teach isn't really cold calling at all. It's actually completely different. With cold calling, you're an uninvited pest that interrupts the people being called's day, annoying them and asking them to buy something. What I'm going to talk about is 180 degrees from that. Using this, you'll be much more of a welcome guest that although you might slightly be interrupting the call receiver's day, you're certainly not going to be annoying them. You'll be providing value to them, and you'll be completely unlike everyone else that calls them looking to sell them something they don't want or need. Or worse than that, something they do want or need, but won't even consider because you've interrupted and annoyed them, and they will cut off their nose to spite their face, and will actually go against their best interest to spite you. And that's actually what this all boils down to. Helping people, especially helping them get out of their own way so they can benefit from what it is you ultimately offer them, and they can be better off having interacted with you than had they not. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is this. It's not cold calling. It's not telemarketing. It isn't telesales. And actually, it's not even sales at all. It's certainly not some type of hardcore sales where you're being super aggressive and closing people. I've been there and done that, and it actually takes a ton of skill that simply not everyone has. No, what we're going to talk about is something that provides value and is met with a lot less resistance. And pretty much anyone can do this. It's also something that can bring you a lot more and better qualified leads and prospects very quickly and super inexpensively. First off, before we go any further, let me take a minute to explain to you who I am, why you should listen to me about this topic, and how I can confidently make this gigantic claim that I know more about this than anyone teaching this today, or anyone you've ever heard talking about this subject ever. Look, I know these are some very bold statements. Bold, but accurate. Let me tell you why and give you a little bit of a backstory. Back when I was in college at Fordham University, I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do with my life, and I didn't really prepare myself for any particular career path. I graduated, by the way, with a degree in sociology of all things. Why sociology? Because I was told that it was the easiest major there was outside of communications, which I didn't qualify to major in due to my grades being terrible as a direct result of not showing up for class and being a football player first and a student second. Anyway, I graduated and had no clue what to do. Well, I knew one thing. I knew that I couldn't do nothing, and I needed to earn some money while I figured things out. So I decided to drive dump trucks. And then it hit me. I see an ad to become a stockbroker. I had no idea at this point what a broker does, but it sounds good to me. I go get myself a suit, go to the interview, and then proceed to sell the guy interviewing me a fake tree to get the job. I actually sold him a tree, a fake tree. I then jumped through all sorts of hoops, get licensed, get another license. You need more than one, by the way. And all this time, I still don't know anything about the job. At all. This was a small firm, and they pretty much lock you away in this interview room, away from the trading floor. I didn't even know there was a trading floor at this point. I don't know anything, least of which I don't know what a stockbroker does. All right. For those of you that don't know exactly what a stockbroker does, especially at a small firm, let me tell you. It has absolutely nothing to do with numbers, nothing to do with analyzing financial statements, nothing to do with any of that. Here's what a broker at a small boutique firm does. He sells. That's it. 99.99% of the job is selling. There's that extra, 0.01%. It involves pushing a button to execute a trade, but every other second of the job is selling. A broker is basically a glorified salesman. Well, maybe not so glorified, especially if you've seen the movie or read the book, The Wolf of Wall Street. Anyway, so that's the job, selling alone. Now, there are two types of brokerage firms out there. There are the big ones that have the connections and money to pay government bribes, regulation fees or whatever, and allow them to do some non-specific image advertising. Then there's every other firm. Now, it's worth noting that these firms, they can't do any advertising or marketing at all to prospects or potential clients. The big firms can't really do any marketing or advertising either in any real sense. They can't really advertise any products or services, so that's a big reason why you see their commercials are largely about branding and their image. Alright, things have changed a bit since I've left that business, but it's still mainly the same. Anyway, there are two ways brokers from small firms can get business and land some clients. They can work their networks and hopefully get a stream of referrals that will feed their business and keep it growing. Or, if they don't have a network like I didn't, they can cold call. That's it. You couldn't market, you couldn't advertise, you could only work your network or cold call. So that's how I got all of my business as a broker, cold calling. And then later on, some referrals too. But at this point, it's worth talking about the hierarchy of your typical small boutique firm. At the bottom, there are the people that just got hired, who are cold callers or contactors/dialers. Technically, someone without a license could only contact people, get a prospect on the phone, and then hand it off to someone licensed. More adventurous firms would have these bottom-level employees actually do some cold calling and actually talking to prospects. Now, it's technically a no-no, but it's a gray area that many firms kind of look the other way on, mine included. So these cold callers couldn't sell anything. They could only contact prospects, whet their appetite a bit, and then qualify as to whether they were a good prospect, and then send a brochure to them and let them know that a senior broker would get back to them in the future. By the way, this brochure that was sent out, it couldn't do any selling and had to be approved by the SEC and the NASD, which is now called FINRA. Oh, another thing about the insane regulations and restrictions on marketing and advertising and selling on these firms. Not only could you not market or advertise or do anything that might make life easier and improve client acquisition or sales, you technically weren't allowed to even have a script. You couldn't script your sales message when you were cold calling, qualifying, or selling. There'd be times when regulators would show up and check on my firm and check in on the books, and with that, everyone would have to put their scripts away and not have them on their desks. They basically have to hide them. And these regulators basically demanded that you shoot from the hip and not ever be rehearsed at all. Now talk about a stupid business, huh? You can see why I got out of it and why the ones in it do what they can to get away with violating all these restrictions and regulations. Alright, I'm going a little long on this and I want to get down to what's important for you. So let me quickly run through the rest of this and then cut to the chase. So the next level up is account opener. They opened accounts for their senior brokers. They actually did some selling and got people to open accounts by actually buying some stock. The next level up was broker. And this and above were where the money was made. Brokers traded their clients and took commissions. The account openers would open accounts for prospects who became clients on a small first trade. Most of those were commission-free trades. This would start the relationship off, and after that, the client would then buy more stock and the broker would collect commissions. Now, from top to bottom, the only way business was done was either in person or over the phone. That's it. Cold calling was essential for most people to earn a living. You either called or you starved, literally. Most small firms didn't pay brokers salaries and it was commission only. So you had to call. And the amount of calling done was absolutely insane. How insane? Typical day was over 600 to 700 calls. We actually had a counter system at my firm set up for cold callers that would count the amount of calls that lasted more than 5 seconds, and there'd always be at least a few callers with over 5, sometimes even 600 calls listed on the printout. Now, you don't make that many calls and talk to that many people without picking up some skills pretty quickly. And that's the beauty of cold calling. You can cheaply and quickly get in contact with a tremendous amount of people and find out right away what works, what doesn't, and the tweaks you can make to improve your success rate. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about here. I'm just giving you some background. I don't expect anyone listening to this right now to start picking up the phone and dialing 5, 6, 700 people a day. No, not at all. In fact, I'm going to show you how you can have each person calling in your business, whether you have a sales team or it's just you alone, a one-person army. I'm going to show you how you can generate a minimum of 3 to 4 qualified leads per hour, which is a very effective use of your time, even if you only spend an hour or two a week on the phone. Remember how I labored on the point that this brokerage business had no way to market other than calling, and that people in the business had to cold call as their only source of getting new business because of the crippling regulations? Well, the good news is that your business probably doesn't have all of these. You probably can market your business how you want to, and you're not forced to be calling 700 people a day, right? The system will cover takes advantage of this fact and incorporates it into an entire lead generation and customer and client acquisition strategy. So no, you don't have to make a ton of phone calls, and the calls you'll make are all the more impactful. Anyway, let me cut to the chase and explain why this strategy might just be something that helps you make breakthroughs in your business and take your business to the next level, bringing you more qualified leads and prospects flowing into your business, leading you toward more and better customers and clients, more sales and revenue, and most importantly, more bottom line profits. Now, there are 2 things worth noting here. For one, you don't have to use this as your only or primary lead generation tactic. You can add this into what you're already doing. Secondly, notice the word I used a minute ago, breakthroughs. Many times breakthroughs in business happen when you apply strategies and tactics that aren't common in your industry, but are common in others. This is unbelievably powerful. Just think of this. How can you make breakthroughs in your business and stand out from everyone else in your industry if you're using the exact same strategies and tactics everyone else uses? Even if you do everything better than the rest of your competitors, if you're still using the same methods, you're limiting yourself and the results you could see. Here are a couple game-changing examples of businesses using strategies from other industries to make breakthroughs in their business. FedEx used the banking industry's hub and spoke method for cashing checks overnight and applied it to the shipping industry. Remax built a billion-dollar business by luring agents to work for them with 100% commissions while only charging fees for office facilities. Now, this is similar to how many barbershops operate, letting the barber keep what the customer pays for a haircut and only charging the barber for use of the chair. I want to point out right now that these examples are 2 of the best I can think of, and you could find them actually in Jay Abraham's book, Getting Everything You Can Out of All You've Got, which is an absolute must-read for anyone in business. Okay, so breakthroughs many times happen by taking what works in other industries and applying them in your industry to your business. In a later episode, I'm going to talk about how you can apply some of the strategies from the brokerage firm industry in your business for breakthrough results. But for now, let me wrap this episode up and get to the heart of the matter and briefly talk about how you can use this non-cold calling, non-telemarketing, and even non-salesy system in your business. I call this system the Ask approach. Like I said, it's not cold calling. It's not telemarketing or telesales. It's not hardcore, pound the phone, don't take no for an answer, hard selling. In fact, it's not even selling at all. The Ask approach system is simply a way of offering value to your prospects in return for them raising their hands, so to speak, and letting you know they are real prospects. It's not about selling or having them buy right now. It's about providing value and demonstrating your value to them and that you're unlike everyone else they deal with in business. We're going to get a lot more deep into this next episode, but we're running out of time right now. Let me just leave off with a sample Ask Approach script you can use to generate more and better qualified leads in your business. This is actually something I have implemented in my business and is currently working very well in filling up my coaching groups. Here it is. Hello, John. Archer Atlas Advisors. Reason for the call? I want to send you over my best-selling book on business growth and invite you to a webinar on lead generation and client acquisition. Fair enough? That's it. Well, that's the opening of the call. We'll dig more deeply into this in the next episode and go through everything from top to bottom next time. I'm really looking forward to sharing this strategy with you. It might just be the thing that helps you make a breakthrough in your business. I look forward to seeing you then. Oh, one last order of business. If you'd like the transcript to this show and all others, as well as show notes and a free copy of my best-selling business book, Build Your Business Without Breaking the Bank, the same one I just mentioned in that Ask Approach, you can get all of it free simply by going to the atlascast.com and subscribing. You'll get it all, plus the audio program Going Up, How to Generate More and Better Leads Quickly and Inexpensively, which goes into even more detail on the Ask Approach, all free as a thank you for subscribing. Just go to the atlascast.com and subscribe. This ends episode 3 of the Atlas Cast for Building Your Business. Like I said, next episode, we'll continue where we left off and really get down to the nuts and bolts of generating more and better qualified leads with the Ask Approach. See you then.